Hi, I'm Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast. And tonight I'm going to show you how to make the Homicidal Maniac cocktail, which is the featured cocktail for tonight's podcast. So we're going to start with 2 ounces of vodka in a mug filled with ice. Got my skull mug filled with ice. 2 ounces of vodka. 1 ounce. 2 ounce. 2 ounces of vodka. We're going to add to that 2 ounces of peach schnapps. And then we're going to add to that 2 ounces of cranberry apple juice. There we go. 2 ounces. We're going to stir. It's pretty good. So there you go. The Homicidal Maniac. 2 ounces of vodka, 2 ounces of peach schnapps, and 2 ounces of cranberry apple juice. Awesome sauce. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So if you're ready, let's go.
Hey, it's Karen. Guess what? It's contest time. We are giving away any 3 items from our merch store, or as I like to call it, the gift shop. All you have to do is leave a review on Apple Podcasts anytime before June 16th. We will randomly select a winner from everyone who has left a review. Every review really helps us grow the podcast. So please take a minute to listen, subscribe, and review our podcast. Unfortunately, no one related to me is eligible to win. Sorry, fam. Good luck to all who enter. We truly appreciate your support. And remember, on the Scary Spirits podcast, the movies might sometimes be iffy, but the drinks are always solid.
Hi, I'm Greg,
And I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Karen, for our new listeners, why don't you tell them what the Scary Spirits podcast is all about?
For the 2 new listeners,
Yes, 2 or 4, whatever.
the Scary Spirits podcast joins the wildly different yet highly compatible worlds of scary movies and alcoholic spirits. What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. What could possibly go wrong? All right, so today's movie, I think I had to pick it. I did, right?
Yes, let's be very clear who picked this movie. This is Greg's choice.
I'm very sorry that I subjected you to the film Maniac. What year is this film from, Karen? I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
It's 1934.
19. Well, actually, I kind of do. 1934. Yep, 1934 film Maniac.
Do you want to tell him why that's significant?
Why it's significant or why I picked it?
Well, the 1934, you want to tell them about the lack of,
Oh, it's pre-code.
yeah,
It's a pre-code film,
yes,
which
it is.
which you learn when
Pretty
watching
quickly.
it.
Yeah. Pre-censors.
Yeah, none of those ratings, pesky ratings or censors or anything like that.
Get in the
Because
way
this,
of this glorious
that's
filmmaking.
right. Is this film even rated? Is there even a rating? I don't think there is, right? Because it's pre-code, right?
Yes, it's pre-code.
So it's just
But
a
yeah,
film that anyone could go to
and
at
anything can
any
happen
age.
in.
Right.
Please, no, wait, no. Please tell us why you chose this movie.
Well, I have to say, I knew there were some scenes that may be titillating.
Okay.
And that's why I chose it.
All righty then. The film Maniac is starring Bill Woods, Horace Carpenter, Ted Edwards. It's 1934, black and white, and obviously unrated. Let me give you a brief description.
Yes, please do.
A vaudeville performer becomes the lab assistant to a research scientist experimenting on reanimating dead tissue. When the doctor is accidentally killed during one of his experiments, the assistant takes on the persona of the doctor and continues his work. The imposter does succeed in reviving the deceased doctor, but then slowly falls into madness. This is a complete and utter lie
No,
description.
that's not a description at all.
I know it's a lie, but this is what came
It's
in
total crap.
the book with the 50 horror classic
So
movies.
maybe we should tell people that we have this buck.
Yeah, we're most of the movies that we're watching are in this box set. Classic features, 50 movies, horror classics. Mill Creek Entertainment, I think,
Mill
is who
Creek Entertainment.
puts it out.
That sounds right.
But this description is bullcrap.
Yeah, it's
So-
total shit.
But you'll have to listen to find out why.
For one thing, there's not an accident.
Don't spoil it, Greg.
It's
Talk about the drink.
All right. So the drink for today's podcast is the Homicidal Maniac cocktail.
How would you make such a thing?
Well, you need 2 ounces of vodka, 2 ounces of peach schnapps, and 2 ounces of cranberry apple juice. And after that, the instructions are fairly simple. Just mix it all together, stir, and serve.
Is there ice involved?
Yes, fill a mug with ice. A mug. You have to use a mug.
No, you don't.
This drink requires a mug.
He's just proud because he has a skull mug. So,
Yes, I do. It's a mug in the shape of a skull.
and Greg made it even more fun. What did you do to yours?
Well, it says at the end, for more fun, put all of the ingredients, including the ice, in a blender and make a frozen Homicidal Maniac. And that is what I have done.
Just want to let everybody know Greg is pre-gamed a little bit here. So, this should be very interesting.
Lord. Lots of editing ahead of me, I can see.
Do you want to give them a few minutes to gather the ingredients?
Yes, because that's what we do here.
It
Hold
is.
on. All right, we're back. Hopefully you have your drink prepared.
You're going to need it.
I'm so sorry. I cannot apologize enough.
Actually, it's not. I mean, the things that I read about it, a lot of people say it's the worst movie ever. I don't think it's the worst movie ever.
Well, they say it's so bad it's good. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, I guess, but anyway. All right, would you like to begin?
All right. The movie begins with a quote unquote forward with a slide that says, the brain in and of its physical self does not think any more than a musical instrument can give forth melody without the touch of a musician's hand. The brain is indeed the instrument of thinking, but the mind is a skillful player that makes it give forth the beautiful harmony of thought. It is because of fear, the disastrous results of fear, though, not only on the individual, but on the nation, that it becomes the duty of every sane man and woman to establish quarantine against fear. Fear is a psychic disease which is highly contagious and extraordinarily infectious. Your thought is most dangerous when it parades as for thought. Combat fear by replacing it with faith. Yeah, I don't buy
The
that.
last sentence.
Resist worry with confidence. And that is by William S. Sadler, medical director of Chicago Institute of Research and Diagnosis. Oh,
Is that
Lord.
true? Is he real?
Yeah, well, that's what they say. I don't know. Shit.
I was just wondering.
Next scene. Next slide.
Well, wait, before you. Oh, there's more?
Oh, yeah, there's more. Unhealthy thought creates warped attitudes, which in turn create criminal and manias. The Chicago Crime Commission made a survey of 400,000 convicted criminals and found them all suffering from some mental disease.
Yeah, that's what makes me think it's not real. Because every single one of them. But I don't think it's that. Fear is a disease. It's used all the time to manipulate people. So I don't think it's still appropriate in some ways today, using fear.
I don't know. All I know is that was a lot of words. You're watching a movie, and that was a lot of words to read. That's all I'm going to say for now.
Okay.
So then we open on a laboratory. Two men are in their white scientific coats.
Pristine lab coats.
Yes, working on something, I wrote. I don't know. You don't know. They're just working. Shit, you don't know. And one of them says, "Tonight, my dear Maxwell, I am ready to try my experiment on a human." So Dr. Mears Schultz, right?
Yeah, we're just going to call him the doctor.
So the doctor would like Maxwell to use his stage talents to get a body. Maxwell is a vaudevillian performer. He is like an impersonator.
He is an impersonator, yes. So the doctor wants Maxwell to use his art and impersonate the coroner so they can get a body from the morgue.
Yes. He says, maybe your art will serve you after all.
He's a little condescending about his art.
He is.
You know, he doesn't have respect for that.
Yeah, he doesn't have the respect for the arts. I got that. He's all about the science.
And Maxwell's not all 100% into this either. He's a nervous Nelly.
And the two men argue about how to get the human victim. And the doctor says at one point, once a ham, always a ham. He's relying on Maxwell to get this shit done, right?
Yeah, but Maxwell is, like I said, not all in. He says it's not natural to bring back life. So he's being blackmailed a little bit because the doctor brings up, Yeah,
the police would be very happy to find you. So apparently there's some shit in Maxwell's past, some shady stuff
that we don't know about.
Yeah, might be interested in. You know, because he's a vaudevillian performer. Of course there is.
Well, he's seedy.
Right.
They do mention the cat, though, at this point. He calls it a miserable cat, and then the cat hisses, the black cat. I wrote down good acting by the cat.
Satan.
Cat. Yeah, which I'm confused about later, but I'll explain that when we get there. But,
I know. I am too. We'll get there.
So we go to the morgue.
Cut to the morgue where there are mice scurrying around and cats chasing them. It looks like a dungeon, but it is actually, I think, a morgue because we see bodies draped under white sheets, right?
This always makes me laugh. Mom, I'm in a movie. And that's your part. You're a dead person under a sheet. But they sneak into the morgue, yeah. Obviously. So who do they find in the morgue?
They find a young woman who died of a suicide, apparently of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yes, Maria, who's 24. And they bring out the Monopoly monocle to look extra smart.
Cool.
But what does the doctor do? That. What does the doctor do to Maria? Did you write it? Did you notice it? She's dead on the slab.
Dead.
And what does he do? He brings out his stethoscope.
Does he?
And he listens.
Okay.
I guess.
Want to make sure, I guess.
I guess. She's, and he gives like basically the thumbs up. She's dead.
All right, cool. So then they like inject her in the jugular, kind of on each side of her neck, right?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me with something. I don't know.
The magical serum.
Yeah, the serum. And then they move her arms up and down to like.
They massage her very creepily. Let's just say that. There are 2 employees in the morgue, and they're lifting someone into you corrected me before. Is it a coffin or a casket? What is it?
Probably a casket. Yes.
Okay.
It's a casket.
What's the difference?
Well, a coffin is,
They can't see that.
a casket is a rectangle.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah. So, okay. It's a casket. And the one guy complains that the corpses are getting heavier and heavier. I think implying that he's older. But the only reason that they're really there is to witness what's happening, right? That these 2 guys have snuck into the morgue.
See? I don't think they can see what's going on.
They're there to see it because the guy's impersonating the coroner. Okay, so because Maxwell's impersonating the coroner, these 2 guys witness that.
Is that what he's doing?
Yes, he is, because they say he's paying extra attention to the pretty suicide girl.
Oh, and I made a note that they were like, "Oh, did you see the
right?" So that
girl that came in today, ooh-wee.
Yeah, woohoo! And they said that the coroner's doing an emergency autopsy on the pretty girl.
Okay,
a special autopsy, and then she starts to come around.
Yep. They work her arms up and down.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see this, but I'm moving my arms up.
He's flapping his arms.
And then they decide to sneak her out the back door. They say there's a back door and they can sneak her out and get her back to the laboratory, right?
Yes, because she needs oxygen.
Okay. There's not oxygen. Whatever.
I know. I don't understand, but okay. Well, maybe he has.
And then we cut to a scene where the morgue workers are reporting the missing body to the police, right?
Well, it's actually the coroner is trying to report the missing body that his 2 workers are saying he stole, but he's trying to report a body saying that was stolen by him, but not him, because he's being impersonated. So he's trying to report to the police that a body was stolen by him, but not by him.
So you're saying that Maxwell was impersonating them.
That's why the doctor says use your your art.
See, I didn't get that at all in this point.
Okay, well, that's what he was doing.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
And they said the coroner, they're in the Bureau of Missing Persons, reporting that the corpse was stolen, and it was stolen by the coroner, who was sitting there saying, it wasn't me, and Santa Claus.
I'll say, so the captain calls down to his man and asks them to look up Don Maxwell, right? Vaudevillian actor and impersonator.
Yeah, that's when we establish his true talents, his art.
Yeah.
So, and they also talk about how strange the doc is. So they kind of use that scene as let's talk about the characters. The doc is weird and Maxwell's an impersonator and a vaudevillian. So.
Okay. Then we cut to a scene back in the laboratory, the doctor's laboratory. The doctor says that what he wants is a victim with a shattered heart.
Because why? Because he's got a heart.
Because he has a heart in a jar.
Beating away in a jar.
Beating away. He's
just
looking for a corpse with a heart that he can replace it with.
Yeah, he wants a challenge.
The doctor tells Don Maxwell he doesn't care where the corpse comes from, just get one. He wants Maxwell to get one. So Maxwell decides to go to the Undertaker around the corner. And apparently there's an underground cavern.
I guess, or a vent or something.
Because he's like crawling through this thing underground to get to the corner, right?
That was a little creepy.
Yeah. And he gets out and there's lots of cats and mice and shit running around. And I made a note, there's lots of cats running around in this movie.
There are lots of cats.
And then he runs away. I guess that like shit scares him. I don't know.
Well, so he's standing in front of the corpse, which apparently was a gangster or something. I don't know. And there were cats fighting, and a cat like ran up to his legs and he got scared and he ran away. He jumped back in the vent like Spider-Man or something. Did you notice I don't know if it was a glitch or what, but he jumped in the vent like he had superpowers. But the cats scared him. Two cats fighting. It was odd. I don't know why that would. If you're dragging a dead body out of somewhere, why would cats fighting scare you?
I don't know.
Then he's running down the street back to the lab.
And cats and dogs are fighting as he's running down the street.
Yeah. That's just bizarre. I don't
Not
really.
cats and dogs, but cats fighting, dogs fighting. Like not.
Well, they were fighting each other. A cat was fighting a chihuahua.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
Did you watch this movie?
Oh my God, I have like 5 pages of notes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Just wondering.
So then Maxwell gets back to the laboratory and tells the doctor he couldn't get it. And the doctor is very upset and tells Maxwell that he has failed him in his greatest moment of his life.
The doc loses his shit.
Yeah, and shoves Maxwell aside. And the heart is still beating in the jar. Then the doctor decides that he will convince Maxwell to commit suicide, and then he will use his body for his experiment.
Because he should trust the doc,
Yeah.
you know.
So the doctor gives Maxwell a handgun. It says, "Here, kill yourself, and I will bring you back to life."
Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, if I was this doctor, I would have just shot your ass. I would have not handed you a gun to kill yourself.
Yeah, me too.
I would have just shot you right there.
Because, of course, Maxwell kills the doctor, shoots the doctor instead.
Right? Oops. Yeah, oops. It almost looked like a surprise. Doc's dead. Thump. He gone. Dump. Thump right there.
And then we cut to another one of these slides, which have lots of words.
Good luck. You can do it.
And this one says dementia praecox. Is that right?
Yeah.
This is the most important of the psychoses, both because it constitutes the highest percentage of mental disease and because recovery is so extremely rare. Patients show blunting of their emotions, serious defects of judgment, development of fantastic ideas, belief that they are being forced to do things or are being interfered with.
I know some of those people.
That's just a lot of words. I don't know.
You did a good job. You got through it. So I think they're trying. I think there's two things going on here.
Well, I think this is like, again, it's like the new talking movie. So they think they have to like put shit up there to describe to the audience what is going on. Right?
Well,
like
maybe.
In silent movies.
Yeah, probably. But also it's to make it longer. The movie's not very long. It's only 51 minutes with these cards in it. So I think they're trying to drag it out a little bit. And I think I read somewhere, I don't know, you can tell me if you read this too, that because they weren't rated, they were trying to pass them off as educational. Did you read that?
No, I didn't read that, but I can see where that would be a thing. Or I'm looking at all this shit and I'm thinking, well, this might be like a especially later, this might be like a Puritan, like.
Well, yes. Yeah, I agree. But I think it was partly to pretend to be educational. Well,
I think much like a Bible group or Puritans, like might have financed this stuff. So I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I don't think Puritans did I think they were trying to they were trying to get around the censorship. And they were appealing to a general audience, but
it was pre-code. There was no censorship really that much.
Well, it was just coming in though, so they weren't shown. I don't think this was shown in movie theaters. I think it was shown on the road, like they took it on the road, almost like revival tents or something.
That would make sense.
But it was educational. They threw these things in to kind of skirt the rating system because they were making them educational videos or movies. Sorry. I thought in the beginning that they were describing what was going to happen to him as he was falling into madness, but they don't really match up so well with what was happening. Anyway, proceed. Sorry.
So my next note is Maxwell seems very remorseful. He has killed his benefactor that had so much to give to the world, he says, I believe. So he feels bad that he turned the gun on the doctor and killed him instead of committing suicide. Kind of, sort of.
Well, and he realizes that people are going to miss the doctor because he's such a great person.
Right. And then he gives a soliloquy while scenes of devils appear in kind of
it's like an overlay.
thing.
I think it's like an overlay, like a double exposure almost. I think, again, those are supposed to symbolize his fall into madness because every time they appear, these devils in this overlay.
And I was like, oh, devils.
Yay. This movie is not boring. Something is always happening.
No, it's not boring. Yeah.
It's very packed with all kinds of horror cliches.
Yeah. So Maxwell says that the doctor would be missed, but he himself never would. So this is when he decides to pick up his makeup kit and make himself into the doctor.
He just happens to find a makeup kit right in the laboratory.
Well, it's his makeup kit.
Well, I guess.
I'm
telling you, you don't keep makeup kits in the laboratory. I'm just saying.
Well, if you're a vaudevillian actor, you do.
I suppose.
How's that icy drink?
It's very good. And he cuts his hair 4 times. He just does these random 4 cuts and then puts powder in it. Because we should mention, like I said, the doctor looks like Santa Claus.
He dyes his hair, puts on a beard and a mustache. He takes the doctor's glasses from the dead doctor.
Whose eyes blink, just
lying on the floor. Yeah. That doctor's he's a shitty corpse actor.
He is a bad corpse actor.
He's terrible. Is. Every time anything has to do anything with the dead doctor, he moves or does something.
He does. He sucks. He's not a good. He sucks at being a corpse.
All you gotta do is lay there and do nothing. You can't even do that.
No comment.
All right. And Maxwell makes himself up to be the doctor. Maxwell proclaims that he will be a great man.
Yes, he is going to be a great man.
Yes. And then we cut to another slide describing Paresis. Is that right? Dr.
Paresis or Paris?
Paresis.
I don't know. I can't see it. So.
I don't know. You're the doctor. General paralysis of the
I'm not a medical doctor. Wait.
General paralysis of the insane or paresis is the most serious disorder for the criminologist. There is marked failure of memory, poor retention, impaired judgment, and failure on the part of the patient to curb his primitive tendencies. Crime and the Criminal, written by Philip A. Parsons, PhD.
Crime in the Criminal? What's
Crime and the Criminal.
Oh, crime. Oh, it's from
apparently
Crime and the Criminal.
Yeah, apparently that's the name of his essay or whatever. Okay. Philip A. Parsons, PhD.
Okay.
And then the door buzzer rings. Not a doorbell, a door buzzer.
Okay.
Right.
And he just leaves the doc on the floor.
Yeah. And he goes to answer it, and it is Mrs. Buckley at the door.
Why would you answer it? But anyway, yes, it is Mrs. Buckley. She's having a little trouble with Mr. Buckley.
Mr. Buckley. And who is Mrs. Buckley?
They say it's not the same Phyllis Diller.
Oh, it totally is.
Are you sure?
How many Phyllis Dillers are there?
I don't know.
On her IMDb page.
No, hold on. Seriously, check it.
Hold on.
No, the actress from this film, Phyllis Diller, is no relation to the comedian Phyllis Diller.
All right. Way to ruin it for us, Karen. Thanks.
But more points for me.
Then we cut to a scene with Maxwell examining Mr. Buckley. He says he will give him a shot to relieve the nerve pain.
Well, do you know what Mr. Buckley's having problems with? He's hallucinating. He thinks he's an orangutan.
Does he?
Yeah.
Even more now than before he gives him the shot?
Before he gives him the shot, Mrs. Buckley says he's hallucinating. He thinks he's an orangutan.
Okay, cool. So
The
Don
doctor
Maxwell
now. Yes. Doc Maxwell.
goes into the back room and tries to find something that he can inject Mr. Buckley with, right? And he's looking at all these syringes and he finds one that says water. And he decides, that won't hurt him, but yeah, it will. But whatever.
Well, do you know what happens? Do you want to know what happens if you inject water?
If you inject water in the bloodstream?
Yeah, what do you think happens?
I think you probably die of a heart attack.
No, you don't. It's actually not too bad.
Wait, Dr. Karen, tell us what happens if you inject water, pure H2O, tap water, into the bloodstream? What happens to you?
First of all, the doctor is going to give Mr. Buckley a shot, and he says, I'll inject water. Water won't hurt him. And a small amount of water, probably the amount that he put in the syringe, wouldn't have hurt him.
Yeah.
But if you put tap water in it, non-sterilized water, you're basically injecting microorganisms into your bloodstream because tap water is not pure. It's not sterilized. So you'll get infection, probably, which wouldn't be good. But if you injected a lot of water into the bloodstream, it would start lysing your red blood cells. So they'd start popping all over the place.
Yeah, I was going to say, what does lysing mean, Dr. Karen?
They'd blow up.
Yeah, they explode, right?
Yeah. And you'd get renal failure, liver failure, anemia, shock, and death.
Yeah, so
but it would take a lot to go.
Water is not harmless.
No, it's definitely not.
Even though our bodies are mostly water, water is not harmless in your bloodstream.
Because you'd be injecting something that wasn't sterile.
Correct. So. I might give you a point, Dr. Karen, for that.
Thanks. So it doesn't matter because the water syringe falls off the table.
Yeah, and I didn't catch it the first time. I had to go back and watch it again. I'm like, oh, that's why he does it. That's why he goes crazy.
Which the water syringe is a small syringe on the table. What did he call it? He called it the
super adrenaline.
Super adrenaline is in this huge. Looks like you would use it on cows or elephants or something.
It looks like the thing that my dentist stuck in my mouth 3 times the other day. Just saying.
Okay, well, it's large. Let's just say that the needle and the syringe.
Yeah,
you can't miss it. So the water syringe falls off. So he mistakenly grabs the super adrenaline. And
right. So Maxwell injects Mr. Buckley with the super adrenaline mistakenly. He thinks he's putting water in him. And Mr. Buckley does not react well.
No, he doesn't.
Yes. He seems, Mrs. Buckley says, hey, he seems to be getting worse.
Mr. Buckley has his guitar solo right here.
Yeah, he overacts quite a bit. Yeah, he's only in the movie for a minute, and this is his minute.
This is his moment, man. This is the guitar solo that goes on a little too long. Talking to you, Angus Young. Just a little too long.
Now.
A little too long. So he contorts but he gives a good monologue.
I made a note. He does a whole Jekyll and Hyde thing, right? He's transforming pretty much, right?
Yeah. Douse the fire in my brain.
Yeah. And Mr. Buckley throws his wife into another room and knocks over the doctor as he's getting out of the house. Then he finds the girl that they revived earlier from the morgue.
She just randomly walks in.
Yeah, she just walks out from behind the screen.
She's doing the vampire walk. Did you notice that?
And he picks her up and carries her away.
She's doing that hypnotized
Well,
walk.
she's a zombie.
She's a zombie. She is.
Right? She's been revived from the dead. She killed herself and now she's back.
Yeah, and Mr. Buckley picks her up and takes off.
Yep, takes her away. So then Mrs. Buckley discovers the body of the doctor as she's thrown into the other room. And she confronts Maxwell about it. And he says that it's the body of his assistant. So he's doing like the whole,
Right.
that's
Reverse.
me, this is whatever. And that he committed suicide and he is going to try to bring him back to life.
Yeah, Mrs. Buckley says, this looks a little like murder.
Yes. Says, no, murder. He committed suicide.
Right. And I'm going to bring him back casually, just like she's going to understand that he's going to bring her back. And guess what? She does.
So then we cut to a scene with Mr. Buckley carrying the girl through the woods.
Or on it looked like a road or something. And what is the only reason he stops? Tell me the only reason he stops.
To rip her top off.
Yep. It's like I can't walk anymore with her clothed. I must remove her top.
And I made it. We see two bare breasts.
When did actresses start getting fake breasts? Was that the 80s?
Know, but
because these were
this is not the same actress.
Oh, see, I didn't notice that.
Oh,
I
noticed it. Yeah, completely different hair color, hair length, totally different.
So a nude body double.
Yep.
But they're definitely natural breasts. If anyone has a preference.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
I don't know when actresses was that the 80s when they started doing that.
What do you mean?
When women started getting fake breasts, was that the 80s or 90s?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Because you see in these old movies, definitely natural.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
But anyway, he continues to carry her away now that she's topless.
And the insinuation is that he rapes her.
No, they show it later.
Oh, they don't really show it.
True. But he's on top of her in a field. So
whatever. So then we cut back to the laboratory, and Mrs. Buckley says that if the doctor, Maxwell, is able to bring the assistant back to life, he should be able to do the same for Mr. Buckley.
Yes, because she says
Mrs. Buckley will be able to control him.
Yes, that's what she's interested in, having him do whatever she says. She's a devious woman.
And it's Phyllis Diller, but not the Phyllis Diller. Right?
Yes, she's very monotone. So, can you do this for me? And,
And then we cut back to the woods with Mr. Buckley and the girl again. And this time we only see some side boob. I made a note. Only some side boob.
More boobs molesting her.
But whatever. You've already seen two. What more do you want?
More boobs molesting her in the field. That's the rape scene there.
Okay. Well, same two boobs you've already seen.
Sorry, Greg. We'll try to get more variety next time. At least they're real.
Yes, they are. So then we're introduced to the neighbor, the doctor's neighbor. He comes over to the doctor's house looking for a couple of his cats. And he's afraid that the doctor will use the cats for some of his experiments.
He just asks the doctor, are you using some of my cats for your experiments?
The doctor says, oh, no, I care too much for Satan. I love Satan too much. I could not possibly use. That's the name of his cat, Satan.
But see, this is where I got confused because he says, I think too much of Satan to use cats for experiments. And I thought, oh, this must be a reference that cats are the guardians of the underworld. That's what the Egyptians...
it's the name of the cat.
I know, but I didn't know. And I was thinking, oh, and I'm writing all these notes about how, I don't know if you remember in the Mummy movie, Mummy movies, they're scared of cats, the mummies, because cats are guardians of the underworld in Egypt and they can send you back if you're dead. And I'm going through this. Oh, okay. What a cool reference. And then I realized later, Satan's the name of the cat.
It's the name of the cat. Yep.
And what does Satan do? Satan's a bad kitty.
Well, maybe we'll get there. I wrote down Maxwell is freaking out because he thinks the police will be there any minute. And he brings the body of the dead doctor down to the basement and begins to dismantle the fireplace. Put the doctor in it and brick him up.
The cat ate the heart.
What?
You didn't see that? That's what I said. Satan was a very bad kitty.
He ate the heart?
that was beating in the glass container.
Yeah.
He knocked over the container, as cats do, off the table and was eating the heart. Well, it was actually attached to his collar. You can see that it's attached to him, but he was dragging the heart away. So then Maxwell freaks out because he doesn't have the heart now to put back in the doctor. Don't look at me like you guys can't see him, but he's looking at me like I'm lying. It's totally.
I didn't see that at all.
That's when he decides to hide the doctor in the basement with a random brick.
And you're
wall.
watching the DVD thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe I have to rewatch that part because I didn't see that at all. Maybe my DVD didn't have that shit.
I don't know. It's pretty plot important because he can't revive the doctor anymore.
But I have these 5 pages of notes, and somehow I missed that part.
Which is crucial because now he can't revive the doctor, so he has to put him somewhere. So he thinks to
that
take
makes
him
sense
to the basement,
I don't have that in my notes.
which has a random brick wall. Is it really a fireplace or is it just a random brick wall?
It's a
down
fireplace. There? It's like it's the fireplace in the basement, the base of the fireplace, whatever.
Okay.
So he throws the doctor in there and starts bricking him up, right? And then Maxwell sees the cat, Satan, staring at him. And
he's bricking up the wall.
He runs up after it, up the stairs from the basement, and chases it around the house. He finally catches the cat.
Wait, let me tell you something. It is very hard to catch a cat. It is.
Unless there are more than one.
Well, true. No, even then it's hard. But anyway, you're right. He chases the cat around. He catches the black cat. And then what happens?
It's not a black cat anymore.
No.
And he pops the eyeball out of the cat. And of course, in my research, I've learned that it was a cat that only had one eye. And so no animals were harmed in the filming of this movie.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. But not that animal. He popped it out and it looked like a marble.
Yeah. So he pops the eye out and the doctor picks up the eyeball.
Maxwell, as the doctor.
Yeah, Maxwell, as the doctor, picks up the eyeball and compares it to an oyster or a crepe. And then he eats it.
Which was so gross.
Eats the eyeball. Which normally would bother me, but this was so stupid it didn't. So I have an eyeball.
So he chased a black cat all around the room. And then when he's going to pop the eyeball out, it's an orange tabby, for those of you who know cats.
Yeah. Well, it's black and white.
But you can still tell it's a tabby.
It's not a black cat anymore when he pops the eyeball out.
He's laughing maniacally. Yep. And he keeps yelling. So the gleam now is gone. So he didn't like when the cat was staring at him in the basement. He said, "I see the gleam." I couldn't figure out what he was saying. And then when he ate the eyeball, he said, "Now the gleam is gone." So you can't have a gleam in your eyeball or he's going to eat your eyeball.
Yep. And we cut back to a scene in the basement and Maxwell is still breaking up the doctor. Cut to another slide. Paranoiac. This is an extremely rare but very serious disease. Characteristics of it are fixed suspicions, persecutory delusions. The paranoiac is often particularly dangerous because of the difficulty of detecting his disease.
That was a tough one for him, guys.
Good Lord.
He really enjoys that Homicidal Maniac frozen.
Well, it's gone, so whatever. So then we see images of a fire-breathing cat or a dragon or some shit. I don't understand this part. And Satan, jumps into where the doctor is. And then we see a woman and a man standing on top of this cat or dragon breathing fire.
Yeah, it's another overlay. So I don't know what movie it's from, but it's another. It shows he's descending.
I'm not sure it's from any movie. I think it's from this movie.
No, I think they took scenes from other movies and it's showing his descension into madness and
into hell.
Hell, but it's madness. I think hell is a metaphor for madness.
So at this point, I'm like, what the hell is this? Some Puritan like holy roller thing that
This movie is not Puritan.
is trying to like warn people of their wicked ways. I don't know. That's what I thought. So then Maxwell finishes sealing up the doctor. Then we cut to a scene, probably the next day, I wrote, and a cop is looking for Don Maxwell because it's daylight. He's asking the woman who's sweeping the steps.
She's cleaning the sidewalk, which this is going to sound weird, but my grandmother, when she lived in Buffalo, they cleaned the sidewalk. The old ladies would go out there in their house dresses and they would sweep the sidewalks. And they were the babushkas. They were in a Polish neighborhood and they swept the sidewalks. So yep. She used to always, it's totally side note, but she used to, when we would go to my grandmother's house, she lived in the upper part of a 2-story house. And my uncle lived below it. But we used to get loud when our cousins would come over. We'd be playing Sorry, the game or something. And we would just yell, Sorry, and ping, throw their little, what do you call that? Marker. And I mean, just yelling and screaming. And she would always tell us, Mrs. Patel, who lived next door, she's going to call the police. She's going to call the police because you guys are so loud. You're so loud. And then the next day, I think we were probably going to church because we'd walk to church, and we all said hello to Mrs. Patel. And she says, oh, she can't hear you. She's deaf. And it was like 3 steps later, we were like, wait a minute. She's not going to call the police. She can't hear us. Basically, my grandmother was just telling us to shut up.
Yep.
But they would sweep the sidewalks, the babushkas. The cleaner, the old lady cleaners.
Yeah, and the old lady sweeping the sidewalk says that the doctor down the road there brought a dog back to life.
Totally with nonchalance.
Not too long ago. And
yeah.
The cop is impressed. He's like, oh,
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
But she's not impressed.
Nah. Babushkas aren't easily impressed.
So then the cop goes up to the neighbor and asks about the doctor and Maxwell, the neighbor with all the cats.
He has thousands of cats, he says.
Yes, and the neighbor has like thousands of cats. And he says weird. The doctor's been stealing his cats for his experiments. He says, I got 1,000 rats and 1,000 cats. The rats eat the cats eat the rats, and I get the skins. So basically his business plan he's going to skin these cats and sell their fur.
It's ironclad.
Yeah.
They are beautiful. If anyone's a cat lover, he has some beautiful cats, but.
Then we cut to another slide.
Oh, Lord.
As if we're in silent movie time again. And it says, Maxwell had forgotten all about his wife, comma, and she him until, semicolon. So then we cut to a scene with 3 or 4 women in some bedroom in their underwear dancing around. I don't know what's going on here at all. Maybe you can help me, Karen.
Well, I think she's also a vaudeville actress.
Okay.
Would be my guess, but it's basically.
So why is she in the bedroom with 3 or 4 other women in their underwear? And not with
I would
her
assume
husband?
They're roommates.
And
on the road. Like you would be on the road with, when you're in a band, you would be with your bandmates. You wouldn't be with your wife.
I'm with you there. We see one of the women get on one of those machines with the
belt.
Yeah, the belt machine like I had in my house when I was a kid.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you use it or did your mom use it?
I did. I used it more than anyone probably.
How long did you have this machine, Greg?
Years.
When you were younger?
Yeah, younger.
College.
Very younger.
Anyway, there is a woman soaking in the bathtub.
Yes, that's Maze.
Did you notice when she got out, she had shoes on?
No, but I noticed she has a credit, and that's all she does is sit in the bathtub and get out. But she's listed on the credits, Maze.
Well, there you go.
So I don't know. I don't know what She's all
And then
about
there's a Betty Boop kind of girl with her.
the high voice girl.
Yeah. So that
I
wasn't that
didn't know.
with Betty Boop?
I didn't know how to describe it, so I didn't even go there.
I think she's kind of impersonating Betty Boop. But
She's
she
very high
has
voice.
she has pressing business.
I think she's comic relief at this scene.
Yes, I agree.
That's what I think. And they read about Maxwell in the newspaper getting a lucky break. Apparently, he has inherited a bunch of money.
From an uncle in Australia.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I couldn't understand what they were saying.
You were distracted.
No, I couldn't understand what they were saying. I watched it twice.
Well, and his wife does her best Mae West impression. Did you notice that?
Actually, she reminds me a lot of Mae West. Now that you say that.
Yeah, she was. I looked it up and Mae West was right around that time. She was doing movies at that time. So
yep.
She definitely. So we had a Betty Boop and a Mae West in the room.
Yeah. So Mrs. Maxwell goes, she says, I wonder if he's still with that crazy doctor or something like that, right?
Yes. So she knows where to find him.
Yeah. So she goes to find him and she's talking to the doctor, which is really her husband in makeup. And she doesn't see through it for whatever reason. And Maxwell tells his own wife that Maxwell will be there at 8:00 tonight. Right?
Yes.
Come back at 8:00 and Maxwell will be here. So then we have another slide. I think I might be able to read this one. Manic depressive psychosis. There are 3 phases of the manic depressive psychosis: the manic phase, the depressed phase, and the mixed phase. In the manic phase, ideas come so rapidly that there is no time to select the proper reaction, and judgment accordingly appears impaired. Such patients are often liable to commit sex offenses.
Is that all the slide says?
Yes.
Wait, can I just say that your reading of those slides, you could have acted in this film. I'm just going to throw that out there. Well, they didn't talk about they only talked about the manic part because that's where hypersexuality can be. So they just wanted to make sure that made it into the film. They didn't talk about the lows or the mixed.
Yeah.
They just wanted to throw the sex part out there.
All right. So we're cut to a scene with a topless woman behind a dressing screen.
More boobs.
Well, one.
Just only one. There was. I wrote one too. There's only one.
Just one bare breast. This scene.
But natural. But this is the weirdest scene. I really didn't understand this.
So Maxwell is a doctor preparing a syringe. Cut to the scene with Maxwell and the doctor back and forth with a woman in black lace. Right. So we cut back and forth, they fade in and out. It's Maxwell as the doctor, Maxwell as himself, Maxwell as the doctor. And he's undressing this woman in some black lace thing. And
was it a dream or was it what was it supposed to?
I think they're trying to play on the sex offense thing.
But was it just a patient then of the doctor of the original? I don't know. It was very bizarre.
No
she was they threw in a brunette in lingerie.
Well, first you got a topless girl behind a screen revealing one boob. All right.
But then it's
and the doctor walks back there with the syringe.
Maybe it's supposed to establish he is being the doctor now. I don't know. It was weird. I played it a couple times trying to figure out what was going on, and I have no idea. No. Basically, it was to put a pretty girl in lingerie in there, I guess.
Maxwell gives another soliloquy. He says he believes his wife wants to murder him to collect his inheritance. And then we see scenes of the devils again.
Yeah, the devils return. He mentions the gleam. He says his wife has the gleam in her eye that she's going to murder him.
So then Maxwell decides to seek Mrs. Buckley's help. He tells Mrs. Buckley that Mrs. Maxwell is crazy and wants to kill him. Maxwell gives Mrs. Buckley a needle to inject Mrs. Maxwell. He says they will take her down to the basement, put her in a secret vault.
A
right?
vault? I don't know, but
That's what he
Miss
says. Secret vault,
first of all, Mrs. Buckley is a psychopath. She's just she
but not
doesn't
the
even
close
ask the
door.
doctor where her husband is. He's just wandering off God knows where. And then
Raping women.
when I thought he said, you can quiet her by jabbing this needle in her eye. But I think he said arm.
Arm, he said arm.
Okay. But I thought, oh my God, she's got to get her eyeball. Because I thought it harkened back to the cat eye, and the gleam, but it's her arm. But yes.
Yep.
Okay. So go ahead.
So then we cut to a scene where Maxwell, as the doctor, comes clean to his wife and explains, hey, I'm your husband. I don't look like your husband. I fooled you,
Ha ha ha.
but I am your husband. He tells her he wants to take Mrs. Buckley downstairs to take care of her. So he convinces his wife, hey, I'm treating this psychotic woman. I need your help. I'm going to take her downstairs. Here's a syringe. If she gets crazy, stab her with it.
Jab her in the eyeball.
Right.
Okay, the arm. So he's pitting the two women against
Yep.
each other.
Yep.
Basically, and arming them both with syringes with unknown material. We don't know what's in them.
Yep. So the two women go down to the basement.
To the special treatment room is
Yes.
what I have, he says.
Maxwell locks the door. And in the struggle, both women drop their syringes and start to fight.
And their clothes fall off. But they really fight. They've got baseball bats. They've got,
Maxwell is delighted. He's upstairs jumping around like
he is a little excited over the whole thing.
He's super excited. Again, we see the hands of the devil superimposed, right? And we see the neighbor peering through a window looking at Maxwell.
Yes.
Cut to a scene with the police speeding through the city. So apparently they're coming to the house.
Well, wait, did you see the frog in the basement?
What?
They showed a random frog.
Yeah, frog jumping.
Yeah, down
Yeah,
there.
saw that. I didn't know if it was a frog or a mouse or whatever.
It was a frog. And the whole police force. There must be like 20 motorcycles and 5 cars or something.
Yep. And Mrs. Maxwell is beating Mrs. Buckley with an axe handle in the basement.
They're going at it. I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
And the police are still coming. Cut to a scene back to the police. It goes back and forth. Scene. The police enter and say they have orders to search the premises and take everyone downtown for questioning.
Well, 52 policemen come, but only 3 come in the door.
Well, someone's got to cover the perimeter.
I guess, yeah.
And then they hear the woman fighting downstairs, and the police demand to be taken down there.
Maxwell says those women have the gleam.
Is that what he says?
Yeah.
The police grab Maxwell and struggle to take him to the basement where the women are fighting. Then they hear, while they're down there, they hear the meow of a cat behind the brick wall.
Good old Satan.
Satan. The cop asks, what's behind that wall? And he tells one of the other officers to tear it down. So they tear down the wall and they find the dead doctor behind there with Satan the cat.
Again, the dead doctor, not a good actor.
No, because he moves a lot when he's
and
dead.
he pushes some bricks out of.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then we cut to another slide.
You can do it.
This is a long one.
It is a long one.
Let me get a drink.
Because that's going to help you. Here we go, people. Where's the drum roll?
The Homicidal Maniac is already gone. I'm drinking just straight cranberry juice now.
That's probably good. Wise choice. Okay, let's get together. Do a drum roll here.
And I might note there's a lot of reading involved in this movie.
You picked it.
I know. I'm sorry.
I didn't hate it.
So the slide says, manias are created by inability to adjust to the world as it is. Insanity is our defense against a world which is not of our making or to our liking. The normal person can make such an adjustment. It is not always easy, Lord, I know, but it is being done constantly. The person of inferior mental capacity cannot do this. He therefore creates a world in his mind, which is his own idea of the world of his choice. He retreats to this world whenever the outer world becomes unbearable. This explains the periods of rationalism all mental cases have. The periods of rationalism depends upon the unbearableness of the real world. There are many people of unsound mind who find one particular thing unbearable. When this is the case, he is said to be a victim of such a complex.
The
What's the normal-
emotion that you put into that is stellar. Let me just say.
Well, there are lots of normal words in that, not too many big words. So I could get through that one pretty easily.
You're pretty monotone.
Then we cut to a scene with Maxwell behind bars. Poor Maxwell. He is saying that he was driven to it. He only wanted to amuse and to entertain,
Yes.
as all vaudevillian actors aspire
Actors in
to.
general, I would say, not even just vaudevillian ones.
And no one appreciated him.
Of course.
Poor pumpkin.
Poor Maxwell.
But he showed them. He laughs. My supreme impersonation,
Yes.
he says, was the doctor. And the end.
He starts laughing, right? Doesn't
Yes,
he laugh?
he laughs. He laughs. He laughs. And he laughs again.
Maniacally. So what happened to the super adrenaline couple? I guess they're still in the woods. It's just there are a lot of
I
loose
guess they're
ends.
still in the woods. Yeah.
There's a lot of loose ends in this movie. You know, no mention of the super adrenaline guy, Mr. Buckley, who gets the inheritance. What happened to the reanimated corpse? You know, where's the doctor going to end up? Who's going to take care of the cats? There's so many questions.
I apologize again.
I didn't hate it. You know what when I was watching it, if you took out all of the sexploitation scenes, it would actually be a pretty good high school play. You know, because every character has like these.
Oh, but if you left the sexploitation scenes in, it'd be even a better high school play.
Well, you wouldn't be allowed. But you know, each one has like their monologue to do. You know, Mr. Buckley has his, Mrs. Buckley has her. They all have good characters to go through. And
good
then
characters?
Well, for a high school play, they have horror. You and I could have written it. But in the a narrator would come out and read the slides while they change the scenes behind
Thank
you.
God I don't have to do it.
You know, I just think that it would make an interesting high school play if you took out all the
Oh yeah, interesting. I agree with that for sure.
all the boobs. If you took out all the boobs,
if you took out all the boobs.
you know.
Yeah, like I said, I saw sexploitation and I was like, yep, that's the one for me.
It's a 5 drinker to get through it.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there. Karen, anything you were pleasantly surprised in this film?
Well, I don't think you're going to agree, but I thought it was pretty innovative when they were throwing the devil overlay on there. You know, for 1934, I bet that was a new technique. You know, trying something to symbolize his madness descent. You know, I
did enjoy them. I did enjoy the devils because
at first it was a little jarring at first, but then as it went along, I thought it was a pretty cool technique to try. There's not a lot to be pleasantly surprised by in this movie, so that's what I'm going with.
No.
What do you got?
I was pleasantly surprised by how good the makeup was. Actually,
you mean that
Maxwell kind of looked like the doctor?
He did kind of look like.
They did a good job of doing the whole body double thing, which is a whole nother movie by Brian De Palma.
I agree. I think that was pretty good. Because when he was originally doing it, when he cut his, I thought he's not going to look anything like him, but he did.
Yeah, it looked just like him. Fooled everyone.
Even his wife.
Yep. Well, they don't live together or anything, so
true.
Apparently. Anything you were very disappointed in? One thing?
You know me. I'm always disappointed in the science. The beating heart in the
science. I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, you thought the science was good?
The heart? Yeah. At least it looked like a heart.
Better than that sea urchin that was in the other one.
Yeah, it was very much a heart. I knew it was a heart.
I bet it was a cow heart or something.
Well, whatever. I don't care. It's a
And
heart.
they just kind of bounced it in the water.
I don't know. It looked good though.
It was a heart, yes.
So what were you disappointed in?
I don't know. The whole thing.
The
I guess
whole thing.
let me just say, I'll say I'm disappointed in the loose ends, that I don't know what happened to Mr. Buckley. It just seemed they reanimated a corpse. What happened to her? Did she continue to live? Didn't she? It just seemed like,
well, she's in the woods with Mr. Buckley.
I know, but I would like to know, did that experiment work? I guess. Is she going to stay alive forever?
Well, she was walking, but then she kind of went limp after Mr. Buckley picked her up, and
yeah,
never saw her animate much after that.
No, so it could be over.
I don't know.
What about you? Disappointed? You got to see 3 boobs. It's pretty good.
Is it really?
For a 1934 film, I'd say it's pretty good.
Pre-code. I mean, it's obviously pre-code film. Disappointed. Anything I was very disappointed in? I think we could have done without the neighbor with the cats.
Yeah, I'm not.
Although
he did call the police, but the babushka could have done that, So.
And there's like a whole scene where he was talking to the cop and they were conversing about the rats and the cats and in the broad daylight, and it was very unnecessary. The whole rest of the film was pretty dark, right?
But it was only 51 minutes, so
I could do without all the freaking slides. I don't need a 5th grade course in psychology or psychosis or.
Greg doesn't like to read.
Yeah, lots of words.
So you don't like closed caption? You don't like subtitles on your movies?
I don't. No, I'm not here to read.
See lots of foreign films, do you?
No, I do not. So what do you think about the cocktail, Karen?
Cocktail was tasty.
Yeah, wasn't too bad. I should have left my frozen version in the blender a little longer. I have ice cubes left.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
But it was good. I don't understand why it's called the Homicidal Maniac. I
don't get that either. It wasn't even a dark color or anything.
But that's what it's called. I don't know what to tell you.
I think we can come up with our own signature cocktail and just name it some Scary Spirits and name it whatever we want.
So anything we learned during this episode?
Don't reanimate corpses. I don't know. What did we learn? Don't name your cat Satan. Although, that
was my favorite part of the movie.
He did save the day by meowing behind the wall. That's got to be stolen from Edgar Allan Poe, right?
This movie had a lot of references to classic horror, Edgar Allan Poe, so on and so forth. The Black Cat.
It must have been low budget too. Again,
Murders in the Rue Morgue.
It was one of those movies where nobody changes clothes or,
Well, it was originally called Sex Maniac.
There wasn't really that much sex maniac type stuff in it.
Oh, there were 3.5 boobs.
I guess maybe in 1934 that was a big deal.
Yeah, probably was.
I think we learned that Greg doesn't like to read when he's watching his movies.
I don't want to read. I just want to watch.
Well, like I said, this movie was definitely not boring. Each scene was more, not entertaining, but.
So how many cocktails would it take you to get through this film?
This one's got to be a 4 or 5. This one's pretty. I mean, the acting is like high school level acting, didn't you think? Everybody was over the top.
Yeah. I wrote down the characters in the credits just so I could keep it straight. And we have Maxwell, Dr. Merce Schultz, Buckley, Mrs. Buckley, Alice Maxwell. Then we had Maisie, Marvel, and Joe. So I know who Maisie was, the chick in the bathtub. But then we have Marvel and Joe. Who were those girls? Were those the other girls in the
They all had speaking parts. The one who was ironing her underpants,
Yeah, she had a pressing.
she has a pressing matter, and then the
Yeah,
one on the machine. And then
that was Mrs. Maxwell.
but there was one reading, there was one in the bathtub, one reading the newspaper, one pressing her underwear, and one in the machine. There were 4 girls in there.
Okay, so you think the other girls are the girls in the room?
And then who was the woman sweeping the sidewalk?
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy with the cats.
I don't know.
And then there were also police detectives and Bureau
but
of
the
Missing
credits
Persons.
are listed. Alice Maxwell. We know who she was. Alice Maxwell. That's Phyllis Diller, not or
no, Mrs.
Mrs. Buckley was Phyllis Diller, not the Phyllis Diller. Then we had Alice Maxwell, who was the girl who was on the exercise machine. Maisie, who was the girl in the bathtub. And then there's another credit for Marvel and Joe. J.O.
So it's girl.
Yeah.
So it's the women in the.
So it's the women in the room.
But they didn't credit any policemen.
Because they danced around in their underwear, they got a credit.
Oh.
Is that what you're saying?
Get something out of it. Because the Bureau of Missing Persons, there was a speaking line in there. And the coroner who.
Yeah, several. Whatever.
It was an interesting piece of theater.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would recommend it, but.
So how many cocktails would it take to get through this one, you think?
4 or 5. 4 or 5. It's pretty.
Is it 4 or is it 5? What do you think?
It's probably the worst one we've seen, right?
You're probably right.
I think it was, I mean, I didn't hate it, but I could have written it, and I'm not a screenwriter, and I think we could have gotten people to act it. You know, we could have made that movie.
You think we could have done that?
Well, we couldn't have acted in it. We'd need some younger people.
What are you trying to say?
We're old.
Okay, I'm okay with giving it 5 cocktails. The worst.
I think I can just hold this one over your head for a while. When you can complain about something I pick, and I'll be like, but it's not Maniac. I think it's interesting to have seen it because
that's kind of why I picked it, just because it was.
Some people say it's the worst film ever made.
Right.
I don't know if they're saying the worst horror movie ever made or what.
It's so bad it's good.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't recommend it, but
I wouldn't. Yeah. So I'm going to tell all our vast listening audience out there, don't waste your time with this. We spoiled it for them anyway, so don't waste your time.
True. And it's not a movie where if you were watching it in the middle of the night, it would scare you if you were alone.
It's not scary at all. There's nothing scary in this movie. Nothing.
They overact so badly. It is amusing. So I mean, high school play. I'm telling you, that's the level.
Okay. Next movie's your pick.
Which might rival this. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. Do you have any idea what the next movie will be, Karen, and what the cocktail will be?
Well, the movie...
Have you thought that far ahead?
So the next movie we're going to watch is called The Snake Woman. And it's free on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. So you can watch it there.
Yes.
And the cocktail is called Snake in the Grass.
Scares me.
You're going to need vodka, creamed mint.
Got it.
Fresh lime juice and lemonade. And fresh mint if you'd like.
Garnish. Yeah.
Yeah. So
sounds delicious.
It sounds a little iffy, but we'll see.
We'll see.
It's probably going to be like mint lemonade. You know, nice refreshing drink. Nice refreshing summer drink.
A cool, refreshing drink.
Yeah.
And lemonade. Anything else we need to cover?
I don't know. I'd just say check out the merch site. We're very excited about our new merch that's out there.
And we are on Spotify now.
Which is so exciting.
And by the time this episode drops, I'm sure we will be on Apple Podcasts.
So definitely listen, follow, and leave a wonderful review.
Yes.
If you watched Greg make the cocktail today, you would have seen the Scary Spirits shirt. He was wearing it.
I am wearing merch.
So help us out.
It's a very comfortable shirt too. I like this shirt.
It looks good.
It's good. Yep.
Did you wash it?
I did wash it
And it
before
didn't
I
shrink?
wore it. No,
It's good to know, and it's true to size.
true to
Yeah.
size. So yeah,
Well,
watch the YouTube video. You'll see.
you should check it out. Our logo was designed by,
Chad Savage.
so you know it's good.
Yeah.
And we're going to come up with some more stuff later, maybe. We started with t-shirts and tumbler and a mug. I think that's the women's, though. They have a nice tank top, a loose tank top. So, and we put women's shirts in there too, not just men's unisex. So we're out there for the ladies. Come on.
Yes, we are.
Especially if you're Hitchcock blonde.
Yes. We need some nice sweaters.
Yeah, we should get some sweaters for our Hitchcock blonde followers.
Yes. Anything else, Karen?
I don't think so. I think we're
Take a
good.
drink.
I did take a drink. Here, listen. Ice.
I know. Is that the same drink you've started with?
Yeah, I'm nursing it.
So we do need to thank again verse 13 for letting us use their music in our podcast. A link to their information is in the show notes. Check them out. They're awesome.
And
Anything
we're
else?
delightful. And we're delightful.
Well, you are.
Uh-huh. Well, just remember, always drink responsibly.
Yes.
If you like what you heard today, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. If you have questions or comments, email us at scaryspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Check out our website at scaryspirits.com. You can find us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. And if you want to wear what all the cool kids are wearing, we have a merch link right on our website. Also, if you are looking for the recipes for our themed drinks, you'll find all of them in the recipe den on our website. And remember, if you really want to help us out, leave us a 5-star review. As always, thanks for listening.